People are waiting. We are now live. The
Welcome.
Communication networks of the world are sending notifications all over the 7 continents to alert the masses that we're back with a show that doesn't have a name and doesn't really have an agenda, but kind of has a mission to what, Marcelo?
To bring value. And I know that's that's a term thrown around a lot, and the idea kind of birthed from a lot of different things. But I know Jeremy and I were talking off air about creating a show that helps tackle certain struggles you may have if you're launching an NFT project, maybe with the creative output front. Maybe you need help coming up with ideas. Maybe you want to know how to create a really easy to build landing page for your project on a low budget, and this, I'm just spitballing here, right? None of this is written down. These are all things just coming off the top of my head. And, I know Jeremy's going to contribute quite a bit, but this is what we wanted to bring collaboratively.
And maybe you just need help getting started. Maybe you just need to be less precious or careful about how your ideas come to life and start getting through the bad iterations, the quote unquote bad iterations, the sloppy iterations, the Google searching for 20 minutes to find an answer to something that is actually very simple iterations, so that you can create a project that you're very proud of, that is very meaningful, and start to, develop whatever tools you want, whether that's making content for TikTok or learning some website design, interactive, like the way that NFT projects are trying to gamify their web experience. I know that it's not like each one is a video game, but anytime you go to an NFT project website right now, the colors are vibrant, the characters are there. You have the same. You typically have the same 5 or 6 landing zones where you can mint the project and meet the team and learn about this, and that can be overwhelming to think, well, I want to launch a project, but how do I get all of those things in place? One person to do all of those things, of maybe a limited skill set could take a year or 2 years, but these things are happening really fast, and it's a good idea to take advantage of this moment, whether or not you're launching your masterpiece, just to get started learning the NFT process and wondering for yourself, what is the next tokenization of something that the world needs? We are seeing ahead of the moment the tokenization of everything, right? It's now begun. Right now, we're experiencing the tokenization of profile pictures, to be extremely reductive about it. But that is it's going to be an era of NFTs, right? That's the era that we're living in. And the next era is going to be gaming, or it's going to be some metaversal thing. It could be any number of things, but gaming is definitely on the horizon. And right now we're in avatars. But that may not be the project that you eventually want to launch. That doesn't mean that you can't play with creating one just to figure out the process. You don't have to have a top 10 project and make a bunch of money, or even build a huge community to create something and go through the process. Because at the end of the day, you could do the whole thing and decide you don't want it to be public and burn the tokens and just have learned every step of the process, or just let it live and let it live whatever life it is. And maybe you find it's your total passion, or maybe it was literally garbage that you needed to create in order to understand what the technology is capable of. And I think we can pull from both ends, right? Especially, so much more about creating landing pages and web design, and also marketing in a way that marketing and technical. Well, you're not a network engineer, right? I always get this wrong. You're
past. I mean, I guess you could call me a network engineer, but I'm out of practice when it comes to working on Cisco certified devices. I would need to go renew that. I think.
But what a Cisco certified device. So you're already
depending if you're talking about the switches or the ASA firewalls. They're a little old school that I used to work with, but it's so I have that background, that fundamental knowledge of how the internet works, how basic networks work, from the home network to your 10, 20, 30 upwards of a couple hundred devices, how to, replicate from one infrastructure to the next, no matter where you are in the world. So I have that underlying knowledge. But then you layer that in with all the creative work I've been doing more recently on the back end of this decade. So I kind of dip my toes a lot in tech and IT. But I was very fortunate to grow up in that environment. So I know not everybody has that. I don't want to say it's a skill set, but I did have all these tools at my disposal. And without those tools to play with, to repetitively fail on and learn how to fix, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I don't think we'd be connected at all. So it's where I was going with that is, man, it's just, I really want to share that knowledge more, because it's a lot of these things are easy. And they're easier than you could ever imagine, even if you're not tech savvy enough. It's just understanding the right steps to take and what to use to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Especially now, I mean, we can do like you've seen with Jeremy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the creative's done on like mobile oriented applications, right?
Yeah.
Almost
exclusively.
Yeah, that's just shocking, because earlier on in my career, graphic designers were PC or Mac first and foremost. You do not like you wouldn't have had that opportunity. But now we have like these smartphones at our disposal that bring us so much value. It's just, I know I'm guilty. I misuse my time on it quite a bit sometimes, so
that's the human mind. I mean, like, you have to adapt to that overstimulus, right? Like when you have your phone, it's so often that I'll pick up my phone for something, and then by the time I get past unlocking it and kind of taking in whatever notifications are there, I completely forgot what I've actually come to my phone for. That's a real thing. And one thing I'm thinking of listening to is also that many people don't see a computer interface and feel comfortable or feel familiar. Like you were saying, you grew up in that. I feel like I have a relative knowledge of just the landscape of a computer. I know how to force close applications. I know what the red X in the corner means. I know what asterisk fields are required for. I know a lot of basics, I guess, cultural, the way that it feels the web is developed. But some people, they go to a web page or they go to a new application on their phone and it just feels so alien. And then you already don't feel comfortable with the device and you're trying to create something with this new technology that you don't quite understand yet. So, I guess I'm mentioning that because hopefully by talking about it and sharing some of what we do, that process can be demystified and become easier for people.
Yeah. And I love that you brought that up, because it's, we all run into the same mistakes, and you being able to do that, you're more tech savvy than you could imagine. And correct me if I'm wrong, right? After learning the process, it's pretty easy, right? To force close applications, to kind of troubleshoot yourself on a basic level, right? Everybody can learn that, right? It's just, I know there's anxiety and frustration when it comes to technology, depending on the chemistry, depending on your experience with technology. So I'm hoping that this show can help alleviate some of that, right? I'm hoping that whatever we discuss, whatever we bring to the table and show our screens and start doing these presentations, that it helps reduce that anxiety and stress when you're looking into these tasks. So I really love the idea of this collaborative approach.
It'd be really great if we could share our phone screens, because I feel like I'm doing so much of this on my phone.
There should be a way to capture your screen at least.
I know there is, especially iPhone to Mac. There must be a relatively easy way. But I think something for us to think about is maybe doing some of these shows based on platform. There are some things that are maybe a little more common sense to that I'm doing while I'm on Twitter versus Instagram, that people may not know. There's someone in the community who I kept tagging her in some stories, and she was like, how come this shows up in my messages feed? How are you tagging me and not showing the actual tag on the story? And I explained to her that I type in the text, and I don't use the mention function. We're going really basic. When you swipe left and you're in the story creator on Instagram, you swipe up and you have all these options, and you can mention another profile. But you can just do it through text. So you tap and you type, and I'll tag like 8 people, but then I'll shrink it to infinity. So it disappears. But all of those people are still tagged in that story. So when it gets posted, it not only gets direct message to them, but it gives them the option to add it to their story as well. And like, that's a very, like, that gives more opportunity for signal boosting for a story you're creating. And some people may not know that you can do that.
Yeah. I love that you brought that up. I was curious on your process. So I do it a little differently. I do bring it small, but what I'll do is I'll start to type out the text like it's a paragraph of text. I do all the @ and the hashtags I want to do off screen. And then as you double tap to then make it smaller, I then do this like weird little thing with my top thumb, and it pushes it off the screen without throwing it away, and I let go. And then it still tags everybody. So I do it a little differently, but I just wait for it to get off that canvas, and then bam, it's out of sight, out of mind. Yeah,
that totally works.
Yeah. So that's curious. I like that idea even better though. Just because like sometimes I'll mess it up and actually accidentally throw it to the trash. It's annoying. So
yeah, exactly.
It's still a work in progress.
Sometimes when I'm shrinking it, because I'm like not taking, I don't know what it is about the touch feature, but sometimes I'll be shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and then I'll accidentally switch to another item in the picture, and I'll shrink the post I'm sharing like really, really fast. Because it shrinks pretty fast. I mean,
yeah, I have that struggle, and it sucks when you're trying to keep the background the same width as before, and then you go, oh shoot, I have to reset this whole frame. Yeah, yeah. I'll come up with I'll find a software for us maybe for next week. I know
that would be
this
cool.
Week's more of an intro and it's shorter, but yeah, it's a good thought. I love that.
Another like kind of tip for Instagram is if you want to get more designed about your stories and you don't like having to add a bunch of things within the story function itself, because sometimes you like are sharing a post and then you're tagging a person, but then you're adding a GIF, and then you'll hit it and it'll go on top, and then you have to like move it around to like position them the right way. If you want to just design everything as is, I just posted in the chat, I use Bazzart, and I'm pretty sure it's a paid app, but I'm pretty sure this is a free function. There's a bunch of free functions in it, and I'm pretty sure it's a free function that you can change the size of your canvas. So like you can have the screen that you're working in, that you start with a transparent background, you add pictures, you can add text. It's similar to Instagram with a little bit different, more features, more background options, more coloring options. But you can make a post, let's say square, and then change the size to story format and just add the background to extend. And then you have a complimentary post for whatever you're putting on your page for your story. And then you put the whole thing in there, and then you can add GIFs and whatever else. And you don't have to worry about it jumping on top of everything you're making. I don't know if that made sense without the visual, but
I'm actually looking at it at my screen here. So it does.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking at their examples, and this is, wow. I'm going to check this out.
Bazzart?
Yeah, on bazzart.me, just their website.
Oh,
they kind of give you some
to their website.
Yeah, it's very clean and it's a nice website, but you scroll to the bottom of the main site and they show you a carousel of examples. I'm guessing creative made through the app. And
yeah, so like it's very cool because they have, like, mostly I just use the blank slate function, like start with a transparent background, but they have a lot of templates, and they're constantly updating and adding templates, and plenty of them are behind the paywall, but there are several that you can just access for free. And yeah, like this stuff is possible. This is way more complex than the stuff that I'm mostly doing, but this is very possible. It also has a feature that you can remove the background within the app. That's a paid feature, but it's so useful. Like, I just find it so useful to like screenshot a befriend, for example, and then quickly remove the background and add it on top of whatever I'm posting that might be relevant.
I love it. This is great. So this is actually the more you talk about it, I'm definitely going to create an account, just dip my toes. But it sounds similar to canva.com. Canva has a lot of predefined templates that you can just go in. A lot of them are behind the paywall. Some of them are cheap. But I do have the pro for that version because I use it for a number of different pieces. And it's just an easy way to pump out creative without having to learn and be patient with Photoshop too much. Even though I can use it to an extent. But just they make it very frictionless, if that makes sense, right? As far as you have an idea visually, I see a template. It's like, if I move this around, change this color, resize this, how does it look? Can I do that natively without having to learn the platform so much? So that's why I fell in love with it, because it was really easy to kind of, you just know where to go, essentially. I'm going to put a link here in the...
As you're signing up for Bazaar, I'm signing up for Canva. Free trial, free for 30 days. That's great. But do I have to put it all in? I don't want to add the wah.
That's how I'm feeling right now. I'm going to definitely test this afterwards.
I've got so many. Oh, good. Let me skip it. That's great. I can add invites later. Skip. Nice. All right. Got my Canva account. So we got a few folks here. Hey, peoples. What's going on?
Yeah, hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
This is still another kind of brainstorming session about like how this show can go. It's a little shorter. We're going to wrap up in the next 10 minutes or so. If you're listening to this, like what's the biggest challenge for you in creating content? Do you want to create content? And what's the biggest challenge? Lucy Drop says, I use Canva for all my thumbnails and all my YouTube channel.
On.
Bada bing, bada boom. It's a great tool. Yeah. And also, like, it would be fun sometimes to bring Lucy on and have her talk about how she uses Canva.
Oh, Lucy? That's actually Sergio. I don't know his last name.
Oh, for real?
I'll correct you. I met him at he was at one of that first VFriends meetup in Southern California.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's funny.
The biggest I love 100%. I love that he said this. The biggest challenge is being consistent, and you're so right.
Yeah.
So I mean, man, it's like the mental game is harder than the technical game. If you can put the time into the technical, you can get proficient enough. Like, you might not be an expert, you might not be an art master, graphic designer, but that's not what's needed. What's needed is communicating value, right? Just like you said at the beginning, like for whatever your content campaign is, and if anybody's listening to this and doesn't think, content is useful for like to be made, I will just say that like the story behind you, your ambitions, your business, your everything, is, at least in my opinion, the unlock that provides momentum for there to be community support and, what Gary would call brand, for people to want to see you succeed. And the best way to communicate your story is through content, unless you're going to go, knocking door to door. Like at one point, going door to door was the best way to tell your story, right? And now we have all these tools, and it gets very overwhelming because there are hundreds, like I was about to say dozens, but there are hundreds of tools at this point. And being consistent with the one and figuring out the ones you're good at, and also being consistent, I feel like for me, those are my biggest. Like, I wish I was good at TikTok, but I don't know why I can't figure out that video editor. It slows me down so much.
It's not the first time I've heard that. I haven't played too much in TikTok, to be honest. I'm sure that's going to change here very soon.
Yeah.
But that's something I need to definitely work on some more. And hey, to your point, like being consistent is definitely the biggest challenge for me, because I find that we've been recording all these videos, and now it's a matter of taking the time to do all that micro content. But you layer that in with launching and then maintaining everything else. It's like, whew, all right, gonna have to get somebody dedicated for this very soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it takes a lot of patience. And I'm sure if I watched like the first week of videos that I was doing, I would find some great gems of just like having no idea what was about to happen. you know, and no one like I can't wait to watch all the videos that happened between the May 5th announcement and the May 11th launch, and basically to the end of the auction. Like, what an exciting week that was, where I was throwing out anything and everything.
Yeah.
You know, the gem moments are like minute 23 to 26 in like random videos, and you have to put in the time. Like, there's hours. I know for both of us, there's hours and hours of content to review. And, you know, actually, I kind of want to just be audacious and be like, I'm going to take this on as a challenge. But regardless of that, it's a good reminder to all of us for consistency. Like, a little every day is better than a lot all at once. Like, the marathon is more important than the sprint. Like, if we just started to commit 30 minutes a day, an hour a day to reviewing our content, I'm sure we would find a lot. I'm sure we would find a lot comes out of that time.
Oh yeah, for sure. When you dedicated and focused, whether it's your cup of coffee in the morning or your book at night, right? It's you get in that zone. I found a really easy way. I'm not sure if I talked about it with you. There's a media player I use for Windows-based PCs called VLC Media Player. It's got a picture of this orange cone.
Yeah, you told me about this, that in VLC you can clip stuff really easily.
Yeah, and you have to be kind of watching, right? And then as you're watching, let's say you find that clip and you start it. I'd hit back on your little keystroke. It goes back 10 seconds. Start that record button. It'll start then a recording wherever the source of that file is. And then once you hit the record button a second time, it ends that clip. So as you're rewatching your long form content, you can just carve out that, you know, time block your schedule to then rewatch it and then clip certain parts. And then what I personally do is I'll go through, rename that file name, and that's roughly the topic, or roughly like, you know, the discussion, or maybe it's a keyword or a tagline that I already know what I want to use. I make it as the file name just to make it really easy. But if you guys would like to hear more about that, let's say you're watching this after the live stream and you're going to give us some suggestions for next week. Shoot, we can always dedicate, you know, a segment about that, because maybe people will find that valuable too. It took me a while to learn that an easy way. You know, I was throwing the media into Adobe Premiere Pro, or I'd upload them onto a cutting website to where you have to wait for your media to upload, and there's usually limitations on the file sizes. So, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to spitball there. It's an invaluable tool. It's just all you need is time, you know.
Yeah, man. So this is exactly where we need to be. Like, I'm gonna do this right now. I'm gonna share my screen, and this might be a little obnoxious, but thanks for hanging out, ETH 2021. This might be a little obnoxious, but like, I'm in VLC right now, so help me figure out how to use this clipping function. It's in playback.
What you want to do, are you in full screen mode? Do you see the bar above the top of, because you're on Mac, so I'm sure it's going to be a little different. Go to tools or settings above. Yeah. So it would most likely be off screen on your top menu bar on the Mac OS X. As the application's open, wherever the application is. You know how the Finder has that top menu bar, and then as you're in an application, that menu bar will change depending on the application.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, this is not the VLC that I'm used to, but I'm not. It doesn't look right? It's like, it's weird. So here I
almost looks like QuickTime.movie.
Yeah, right. I know they like. I know I updated it recently, but what happened?
It looks like you're in VLC.
Yeah, I am.
I know this is the Mac version. But above this bar, like, let's say you hit that yellow.
Here we go.
To window it.
Show tab bar.
Do you see any advanced settings?
Yeah, I have.
For me, it was under tools. I'm sorry, view and then advanced controls. Do you see a view tab along the top?
I don't have advanced controls. I have video effects. I Yeah, I have video effects where I can change and render it, but I'm not seeing one where I can main window. No. I had this idea that I was going to bring up this program and it was going to all happen very seamlessly, but now I'm just searching through an off-screen menu.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up screenshots of the VLC for Mac OS X so I can help a little bit more.
Yeah,
I'm not looking at a Mac here.
Close window, open. I can open a capture device. Okay, that's interesting. Is it this? No, this is a menu. Is it this? This is sound. It's incredibly obnoxious and awesome to have my face on the screen. Like, I guess it's not. I can see it. You can't.
I'm toggled out, but I do see. I just toggled back. So instead of view, you don't see view. Are you sure? So file, edit, view, and then playback, audio, video, subtitles. It should go in that hierarchy along the top.
Yeah, I have that.
Okay, but you just didn't have the advanced in view.
Yeah, I don't have advanced.
What about window?
I have window.
Is it under there by chance?
I have playlist, media information, video effects, audio effects, track sync, bookmarks, messages. Yeah, this looks very different from the last time I opened VLC.
Wow, they make you really go, let's see, show all button at the bottom of the left. So go into the preferences pane.
Mm-hmm.
And then bottom left-hand side, do you see a show all button?
Yes.
Let's press there.
Mm-hmm.
And then does it give you another kind of like...
It gives me a lot of options. I can share it with you.
That'd be great. So I'm looking at an outdated...
you know, I'll just share my entire screen so you can see it. Where'd it go? So I have audio, stream output.
Go to advanced there.
Advanced
settings. No, it's not in there.
Interface.
Problem is the screenshots I'm looking at is from a much older one. So let me try to guide you.
Yeah.
Try checking maybe interface. Main interfaces, control interfaces. Oh, back to interface. Show advanced options. Save. I think that's it. So now, do you see a record button pop up anywhere?
I have. No, I don't. No. Super strange. Because VLC used to be like a whole. It used to basically look like an editor in some way. Like there were a lot of different. Like you're right. This looks like QuickTime. I don't know what happened to their thing.
I don't update mine. Usually when I find a stable drop and I know it's going to be used on that operating system for a while, I never update, the software, depending on the software, right? So will admit I have an older version of VLC because I know it works great. It keeps bugging me every time I open it. It's like, no thanks.
Yeah, I have, this crop and stuff, these transforms, which is also really interesting. Like VLC can do a whole lot of stuff, but they screwed this up. It might be because I have the Apple One or the Mac One chip. Maybe they changed VLC for the for the new Mac chip?
You know, one thing I've learned in the past, sometimes it's so simple and it's right underneath our noses, but then sometimes Mac just doesn't have the same options as Windows, depending on the application developer, right?
Yeah, that's
sometimes fair. They don't make the versions of the application identical. Sometimes Windows looks and operates a little differently than Mac. Seen that countless times. I think that's what this is. But now, you know, I'm going to take this as a challenge. I know we're going to reconnect here in a little bit. So
I'll see you in an hour. We can just wrap up early because, you know, we got really off topic. But I think
we did
just a lot of great concepts, and like that idea is the right thing, you know, to like kind of like mix of tutorials and conceptuals, and then hopefully like getting like either between us and then from people in the community putting ideas on the table and trying to strategize and come up with, you know, ideas like what can you do, like what can you do right now without knowing all the details of your project. You can try to start a logo, you can write 2 sentences about, you know, maybe a mission or like a desired outcome. You know, you can post that as content. Like it can start very simple and then lead into these tools as they're necessary, and then we can try to tackle them one by one.
I love it. And if anybody has any suggestions, let's say you're watching this after the fact of the recording, just drop us a note, either, you know, at BitMonkey Studio or at Wanna Be a V-Friend, and let us know what topic you'd like us to cover. And we can turn an entire episode around your focus, your execution. That way you have, I don't want to say a blueprint, a definitive blueprint to follow, but a blueprint in this scenario to follow. You know what I mean?
And this is going to be fun too, because like, I hope somebody like VectorBot Tim hears that message and is like, hey, I have a project. What can I do on TikTok, or what can I do on LinkedIn? And
that'd be awesome.
And, you know, I say that because I know Tim and I like his project, and he's already doing so much, but he's in that spot where he wants to be making content for his project. And I think it's a good example as well. But, you know, it's kind of like an open source brainstorm. You know, we'll just we'll just throw it around until we come up with a good idea, and then we'll try.
I love it. This sounds great.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Cool, man. Well, for the next one, I'll have to give you a new link because it only allows me to go live from one broadcast at a time. But your Twitch will already be connected, so it'll be easy to just add the destination. And I should be free at 10. I might be a little bit late.
That's even better. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. Let's keep it open.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you. You have a good rest of your day.
This was Creative Thursdays. The second in a series of groundbreaking shows about content, teaching you everything you need to know about telling your story in the digital age. We'll see you next week.
Brought to you by BitMonkeyTV and Wanna Be a V-Friend.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah. All right. Hope you guys have a great day.